For a long time, the US refused to accept the fact that its constant hounding of South Korea to join the Ukraine war will result in adverse repercussions. As Seoul broke its ties with Biden and is now pursuing strong partnerships with Saudi Arabia, Poland and Egypt, the US has deployed its puppet Jens Stoltenberg to promote its nefarious agenda of manipulating South Korea. Hello and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of TFI Media Group. I'm your host Ananya Sharma. Let's begin. Recently, Poland insinuated its anger with Ukraine following a missile launched by the Ukrainian forces into its territory. President Duda emphasized that the rocket was not launched by the Russian military. Even NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg agreed with the Polish government that the attack was perpetrated by Ukraine and not Russia. In such circumstances, South Korea, which is trying to come out of the dominance of the US and Europe, decided to provide weapons to Poland. South Korea was being persistently forced by the Biden administration to give arms to Zelensky. This prompted Seoul to sever almost all ties with the US and sign defense deals with Saudi Arabia, which is currently an adversary of Biden-led Washington. Moreover, South Korea also signed a multi-billion-dollar deal with Saudi Arabia. President Yoon Suk-yeol enhanced its partnership with Riyadh, which is seeking to diversify its economy. In exchange, Saudi Arabia is leaving no opportunity to strengthen its relations with South Korea, which is the fourth largest economy in Asia. The Seoul Economic Daily reported that 26 investment deals worth $75 billion were signed between Mohammed bin Salman and Yoon Suk-yeol. Continuing its strategy of pursuing ties with US adversaries, South Korea also signed a $2.25 billion deal with a Russian state-run nuclear energy company to provide components for Egypt's first nuclear power plant. Similarly, South Korea got disillusioned by the Biden administration's decision to not conduct joint nuclear exercises with Seoul. The US move came against the backdrop of persistent threats to South Korea's security from its neighbor Pyongyang. When asked by the media whether Washington was in talks with Seoul regarding joint nuclear exercises, Biden replied, no. In such a scenario, on 30th January 2023, NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg requested South Korea to enhance its military support to Ukraine and cited other nations which have reversed their policy of not giving arms to nations embroiled in war in the wake of Russia's military operation in Kiev. However, the South Korean president emphasized that his nation's law doesn't allow it to give weapons to countries involved in the conflict. Stoltenberg is trying to manipulate South Korea into believing that its neutral political stance in the Ukraine war is an acceptance of dictatorship. It is ironic that the leader of NATO, a flawed military bloc which has advocated and promoted autocratic regimes for decades, is lecturing South Korea on the significance of democracy. South Korea has realized that this conflict is the result of numerous miscalculations by the West. Seoul is strengthening ties with nations which are disillusioned by the dominance of the West, as it knows that it is Saudi Arabia, Poland and Egypt which are going to come to its rescue if North Korea attacks and not the US. Fortunately, South Korea has mastered the art of walking carefully on the unpredictable rope of geopolitics.